Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Welcome to Talking Politics. I am your host, Robert Press. I write for the Bronx Chronicle, as you can see by my official press card from the city of New York. I also contribute to the Co-op City News and the Parkchester Times. The latter, like this show, is part of Muslim media. I also have a blog at www.100%.blogspot.com and Facebook pages 100% and What is Going On in Your Community Board. The views expressed on this show are those of the host, any guest, or any commentator whose comments appear on the bottom of your screen that you may see scroll across the bottom of the screen, and not necessarily those of Muslim media. I apologize to my live audience. Apparently, we must be part of the AT&T program, which had very big problems yesterday. So that's why we came on a little late today. We'll quickly go through the weather. Today, the showers have ended. Temperatures should get up into the high 40s. Tomorrow, Saturday, it should not get near 40. Sunday brings a high close to 45, while on Monday, the temperature will get over 50 and may get up to 60 Wednesday or Thursday. Let's go to some news. For the first time since 1972, an American spacecraft has landed on the surface of the moon. Our next item, yesterday, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez officially announced a re-election bid for New York Congressional District 14. She said the campaign will launch a rally in March, saying that she is so proud of the work we have accomplished in our communities in the Bronx and Queens over the past term in Congress. Our district remains much the same, with a small shift in the Queens part of a district that is, unless the state legislature changes it, but they're likely going to approve the independent redistricting committee lines. As far as fellow squad member Jamal Bowman, his problems are that he was already poised to face one of the toughest Democratic primaries in the nation, but he doesn't appear to be helping himself. Westchester County Executive George Latimer has raised more than twice as much as Bowman, and the squad's members' harsh criticism of Israel has put him in a hot water in one of the most Jewish districts in the nation. All while his opponent, George Latimer, has made his pro-Israeli stance clear. He's also recently criticized Latimer for taking money from a group of donors, which Bowman himself has received campaign cash from. The Congress member has a growing list of gaffes, including, of course, pulling a fire alarm in Congress. But now he's angered firefighters all over again. This time it deals with the aftermath of an uncomfortable revolution from his past. In a 2011 online personal blog he penned during the time he was a Bronx principal, Congressman Bowman penned a lengthy poem in which he suggested during his time at the 9/11 attacks were a conspiracy. The comments have infuriated first responders and multiple law enforcement groups who said the writings have all but disqualified Congressman Bowman from getting their endorsements. I've been dealing with these imbeciles for over 20 years now, where I've been accused of planting bombs on every 10 floors in the Trade Center and things like that, said Thomas Von Essen, the city's fire commissioner. On September 11th, in a statement, Bowman denied any 9/11 conspiracy, saying he doesn't believe anything that those cranks have said, and that his life's work has proven that. Let's get into some of Donald Trump's problems, or I should say what he wants to do when he wants to become president. It appears that former President Donald Trump is planning an extreme expansion of his first-term crackdown on immigration if he returns to power in 2025, including preparing to round up undocumented people already in the United States on a vast scale and detaining them in sprawling camps while waiting for them to be expelled. The plan would sharply restrict both legal and illegal immigration, that is, in multiple ways. Mr. Trump wants to revive his first-term border policies, including banning entry by people from certain Muslim-majority nations and reimposing a COVID-19 era period of refusing asylum claims, though this time he would base that refusal on assertions that migrants carry other infectious diseases like tuberculosis. He plans to scour the country for unauthorized immigrants and deport people by the millions per year. To help speed this mass deportations, Mr. Trump is preparing an enormous expansion of a form of removal that does not require due process hearings. To help immigration and customs enforcement agents carry out sweeping raids, he plans to reassign other federal agents and deputize local police officers and National Guard soldiers voluntarily contributed by Republican-run states. To ease the strain on ICE detention facilities, Mr. Trump wants to build huge camps to detain people while their cases are processed and they await deportation flights. And to get around any refusal by Congress to appropriate the necessary funds, Mr. Trump would redirect money from the military budget, as he did in his first term, to spend more on a border wall than Congress authorized. Meanwhile, 4 days after a judge ordered President Donald Trump to pay $354 million in a civil fraud case, New York Attorney General Letitia James said she is prepared to seize the former president's assets if he is unable to find the cash to cover the fine. If he does not have the funds to pay off the judgment, then we will seek judgment enforcement mechanisms in court, and we will ask the judge to seize his assets. Yesterday, in a New York judge declined to delay the enforcement of payments of former Donald Trump that he must make towards a more than $355 million penalty stemming from a business fraud trial. Trump's legal team has asked for a 30-day delay on payments to protect the defendant's appellate rights and ensure an orderly post-judgment process, but Manhattan Judge Arthur Engoron was unsatisfied with their arguments, denying their request in an email on Thursday morning. You failed to explain much less justify any basis for a stay, he wrote. I am confident the appellate division will protect your appellate rights. In addition to the $355 million penalty, payback of what the judge deemed ill-gotten gains from his financial statements, Trump is required to pay interest on that amount at an annual rate of 9% as prescribed by New York law, which adds up fast. Attorney General James' office calculates that to date, Trump owes an additional $98.6 million in interest, bringing his total penalty to $453.5 million. The interest will keep accruing until Trump pays. President Trump has called the decision weaponization against a political opponent, and his team has said that President Trump will, of course, appeal and remains confident that the appellate division will ultimately correct this innumerable and catastrophic errors made by a trial court untethered to the law of reality, Trump's lawyer Chris Kesey said after the trial ended. Now, we have a New York murder suspect that's being held in Arizona, and prosecutors in Arizona say they won't agree right now to extradite the man because who was accused of murdering a woman in Soho, because they don't trust Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. Rod Almasari is locked up in Arizona, where police say he stabbed 2 women. The Manhattan DA wants to bring him to New York to face charges for the Soho murder, but Maricopa, a county attorney, Rachel Mitchell, wants him to stay in Arizona for now. I just want to say that I know there's been discussion about New York wanting to extradite this individual, and I'm sure that this is not aimed at the New York Police Department at all. I know they do a hard job and they do a good job, but we do not agree with the extradition. I've instructed my attorneys not to agree to that. We're going to keep him here. These are mandatory prison sentences, and having observed the treatment of violent criminals in the New York area by Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg there, I think it's safer that we keep him here and keep him in custody so he cannot be out doing this to other individuals in other states in the country or anywhere in the United States, Mitchell said. Spokesman for the Manhattan District Attorney, Emily Tuttle, called Mitchell's comments deeply disturbing and accused her of playing political games in a murder investigation. New York's murder rate is less than half of that of Phoenix, Arizona, because of the hard work of the NYPD and our law enforcement partners, Tuttle said. It is a slap in the face to them and the victim in our case, to refuse to allow us to seek justice and full accountability in a New Yorker's death. Mitchell made the comments at a news conference where police said Amarasi wanted to hurt more people. This arrest, without doubt, as heinous as everything else he's done so far, stopped someone from continuing that path of destruction. Surprise, Arizona, Police Chief Benny Pina said. Police in Arizona said Amarasi admitted to killing someone in New York earlier this month. The NYPD believes that he attacked Denise Alisis Anakerpaya with an iron, killing her at a Soho motel. Investigators said he also sexually assaulted a woman in Florida in April. Mitchell said later on Wednesday, New York can file for extradition, but she wants to proceed first. The NYPD is working with the FBI to see if the defendant is connected to other crimes. If you remember the budget cuts proposed by New York City Mayor Adams yesterday announced the cancellation of fiscal year 2025 executive budget eliminate plan program to eliminate the gap for city agencies, a direct result of the decisive actions early on by the Adams administration to stabilize the budget through continuing strong financial management, better than expected economic performance in 2023 that resulted in an upward revision of the city's tax revenue forecast and additional cuts to asylum seeker spending. The Adams administration is more specifically cutting an additional 10% in budgeted city funding for asylum seekers' costs on top of a successful 20% asylum seeker PEG in the preliminary budget that already saved more than $1.7 billion in city spending, while continuing intensive casework for migrants to help them on the path to self-sufficiency. This announcement comes just one day after the internationally recognized independent credit rating Moody's Investment Service affirmed New York City's AA2 rating, issuing and praised the Adams administration for its robust financial management and successful implementation of budget measures to help close gaps caused by the migrant crisis. However, poverty in New York City increased from 18% in 2021 to 23% in 2023, and in 2022, as the 2023 figures won't be out for a while, according to a newly released report by Robin Hood and Columbia University Center on Poverty and Social Policy. The Six Policy Tracker annual report found that the number of people living in poverty grew from 1.5 million to 2 million between 2021 and 2022, leaving New York City to have nearly double the national average of 12%. In 2022, New Yorkers were hit by the increased cost of living in the city, including but not limited to rent, food, transportation. 8 out of the 10 neighborhoods with the highest eviction rates from 2020 to 2022 were in the Bronx, according to data from the city controller. These neighborhoods are majority low income and of color. The census estimates that the percentage of Bronx residents living in poverty is around 27.6%, the highest in the city. The poverty tracker found that 1 in 5 low-income New Yorkers were living paycheck to paycheck. For renting a household with 2 adults and 2 children in New York City, the poverty line is $43,890. The figure determines what is needed to afford the minimum basic standard of living. However, it does not mean that the family is thriving. 2022 saw a huge increase in the rate of poverty among children. That rate increased from 15% to 25%. It is the highest increase since 2015. And again, it's more than double the 12% average. New York City residents face material hardships. Roughly 3 in 10 adults in New York City face one form of material hardship: food, housing, bills in financial or medical, and 1 in 10 face multiple. The Coalition for Homeless says that 92,824 homeless people were sleeping in New York City shelters in November 2023, including 33,365 children. For families, the largest reason for homelessness is the lack of affordable housing. The building collapse at 1950 Billings Terrace. While New York City Mayor Eric Adams and Department of Buildings Commissioner Jimmy Otto yesterday announced the signing of an agreement with professional engineer Richard Konigsberg related to his negligence in inspecting and identifying elements of a building located there, leading up to a partial collapse that occurred in December 2023 in the Morris Heights neighborhood of the Bronx. Several days after the collapse, the OB took action to temporarily suspend Konigsberg's ability to conduct facade in inspections in New York City, pending further enforcement actions. He has also agreed to pay a $10,000 fine and voluntarily a 2-year suspension of his ability to conduct inspections. I'm going to just give you a little Rikers Island update, and then I'm going to go to a commercial. In January 2024, there were 2 deaths in custody. There was one on January 4th. A inmate, after collapsing after playing basketball, became the first person to die in the city jails this year. A few weeks later, a 30-year-old was found unresponsive in his cell on January 19th. A cause of death was not immediately released. Now, from the Bronx District Attorney's Office on February 16, 9 Rikers Island inmates were indicted for beating a fellow inmate unconscious and breaking his nose. She announced that 9 of them have been indicted on attempted gang assault in the first degree and other related charges for pummeling and stomping an inmate, leaving him unconscious. Then on February 20th, the Bronx District Attorney announced that a Rikers Island inmate was indicted on attempted murder in second degree for stabbing another detainee in his chest and back, causing life-threatening injuries requiring open-heart surgery. Allegedly, a member of the Gorilla Stone Bloods allegedly stabbed another inmate, also allegedly of the Gorilla Stone Bloods, in the back and chest with a 7-inch plexiglass knife. He is charged with attempted murder in the second degree, 2 counts of second-degree assault, and first degree promoting prison contraband, third-degree assault, and second-degree promoting. And the defendant was remanded. Now, quickly, as of February 1st, according to the Controller's Office, the number of people in the Department of Correction jails was 6,167, an increase of 148 from the previous month. In January, 316 people from December were admitted, totaling 1929, the largest admission increase since March of 2023. Discharges decreased by 11 to 1,743. Incarcerated people missed medical appointments 11,930 times in December 23. And there were 36 assaults on staff, which were 2 fewer than the previous month. Slashing and stabbings totaled 29, down 1. Fights decreased 400 to 438. 28 fewer fights in December, in January than in December. And right now, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to bring on a guest, Mr. Kevin Viola, who we will be talking about the Bronx Park Speak Up.
Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely finish you.
Okay, I see I have my guest, Kevin Viola, with me. Kevin is a member of the Hutchinson River Greenway, and he is an avid biker. And Kevin, I always see you at the Bronx Park Speak Up, which is tomorrow. So let's talk a little bit about the Bronx Park Speak Up. Kevin, why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Bob. Thanks for having me on today. My name is Kevin DeLoya. I represent today the Friends of the Hutchinson River Greenway. It's a local team of friends who do a few cleanups on the Greenway. We have a few bike rides. We've had dog runs. We just like to keep the Greenway clean. And so greenways are part of parks. If you call DOT, they'll never accept that they are a greenway maintenance responsibility, but greenways in New York City are all part of parks. So tomorrow, for the 30th annual Bronx Park Speak Up, which will be held in the music room at Lehman College, I don't represent them, I'm just feeding some information to you, is a great place for people like myself who belong to local community groups and or some nonprofits such as the Friends of Pelham Bay Park and the Friends of Moshulu Parkway, where we can network and socialize in a setting that is set for New York City, or excuse me, that is set for Bronx parks. Last year's theme was greenways. And again, I represent one of the greenways in the Bronx. And there are a lot of greenways in the Bronx. We have a lot of greenways. Hudson River, Bronx River Greenway, Hutchinson River Greenway, the Moshulu Pelham Greenway. And to me, that connection, like Bob said before, is the greenway is a pedestrian slash cyclist pathway. So my connection to the greenway is being a cyclist in the Bronx. Tomorrow for the Speak Up, there will be networking and workshops, and they're going to be advocating for Bronx parks, greenways, and for New York City to increase the budget for the parks to 1%. They'll also have another cause for tomorrow is the status, New York City status update on waterways and greenways. Other community groups like myself who will be there represented with tables that you can go to, learn information about them and other things are the Bronx River Alliance, Friends of Pelham Parkway, Friends of Ferry Point Park. If you know these three names, or Loving the Bronx with Nilka Martel, Lovey Pineda will be there, Dan Reynolds from Bronx River Alliance. And one of the other groups that I am a part of on a monthly basis is the New York City Greenway Coalition. And we kind of advocate for greenways across the city. We're represented in Brooklyn, in Queens, in the Bronx. And this is the Speak Up to me is a great networking thing. I don't have funds. I'm not a nonprofit. But by going there, I've learned how to still apply for some grants and make some connections where that can happen. Tomorrow also, I am a member, a volunteer, and a former chairperson for Transportation Alternatives, which is a advocacy for mass transportation and cycling safety in New York City. And we're holding our 10th annual bike ride to the Bronx Park Speak Up. I'll give you a little bit of information on that, but if you need any information somehow, if you get through to me or Bob or in the chat.
Kevin, before you continue, when exactly is the Bronx Park Speak Up starting and when is it running through?
Sure. So the Bronx Park Speaks Up is tomorrow, February 24th. It starts at 11 a.m., goes till 4 p.m. Hold on, I got another piece of paper here. Goes till 5 p.m., and it's located in the faculty dining room in the music building at Lehman College.
And it's in both dining rooms. There's two dining rooms that the college facility has. In one dining room are exhibits that are all set up by people like Kevin. You have companies there. Con Edison is always there. There are city agencies there. The Department of Environmental Protection is always there, and other city agencies. There are about, 40 or 50 exhibitors in that room?
Very popular.
And it's you can pick up things. Con Edison one year gave out the LED bulbs a couple of years ago. You'll get pens, you'll get other things, water bottles. It's a very excellent, and you spend at least an hour there. Then you go into the formal dining room. Lunch is provided, and they have speakers that speak about various different things from different areas of the Bronx. Now, the bike ride, Kevin, I believe you'll be getting that from the Bronx Courthouse.
Yeah, that just happens to be a place that we started, the former courthouse on, what is that, 163rd-ish?
161st and the concourse.
So there's a diner there called the Symphony Diner. We normally do a bike ride. We meet up at a certain time and then leave 15 minutes later. This is one because it's usually cold. We start inside, have coffee, have some breakfast at 8 a.m., and then it's wheels down at 9 a.m. We do a short 6-mile ride, including the Grand Concourse. We'll stop at a park or two on the way, Poe Park, and then we end up on time at the Speak Up at 11 o'clock. We've been late a few times, Bob, and it's always good to get there before lunch starts.
And how many riders do you expect tomorrow?
It's a nice day. It's going to rain a little bit tonight. Tomorrow's going to be pretty nice out. It's been posted by Transportation Alternatives, myself, and a few other Bronx park-related organizations have reposted it. Usually we have 12 to 15 people. I'll be happy with that. I got a feeling it might be a few more this time.
Okay, let's hope we can get some more people in that bike ride because of the show.
So real quick, that's going to be, besides the breakfast, the meetup will be at 9 a.m. at the Symphony Diner, which is at 163rd Street near 3rd Avenue. And it's a quick 5-6 mile ride. Should take a little over an hour. But we'll stop because it's, we have a little time to get there before 11 o'clock.
Okay, now, let's get on to another subject that some of our viewers like to talk about. I know you do. You comment on it often, Community Board 11. Any comments on Community Board 11, Kevin?
I'll be honest with you, Bob. The last couple of meetings that they have had, although I have to say there's a big comparison in how Community Board 10 handles committee meetings and full board hearings versus Community Board 11. I'm not sure I'm happy with either. I don't want to get into the CB10 thing right now. But the last couple of meetings at CB11 were pretty good. They went pretty smooth, I think, in my eyes. I don't think that they've finalized a few things that were on their agenda. There was talk of removing people who are leaders on there, and yourself having another issue that you mentioned this past week. But I don't see them moving on a lot of those things. I just hear them listening and doing nothing about them,
It appears that in November, board member Malcolm Gray made some comments that I had done some unethical things on Community Board 8. He has not proven anything. Last night, I confronted him with it, and I said to him, what exactly did I do that was unethical while I was on Community Board 8? He stood silent and didn't say a word. So that must mean, and I said it there last night, so you must be lying, Mr. Gray. And I called him a liar, and we had only one person from the audience say anything. It appears that Mr. Gray has nothing to back himself up. The borough president refuses to do anything to take, as she did to board member Miguel Dyer, and it appears that I may have to see Mr. Gray in court. Not only that, but it appears that now they want to delete the Citizens of Bronx Community Board 11 Facebook page and get the board members off of the committee. They have the social media committee of 9 people, 7 of which are board members who are administrators. The page was created by one board member 10 years ago. There was no problem. Then when this regime came in and said, we want to be administrators on the page, and they've taken things off. Like, for instance, once I made a comment a couple of days ago on an issue, all of a sudden it was turned off, the commenting by an administrator who I found out was Mr. Malcolm Gray, because I asked the 8 other administrators.
Crisis of elimination.
Yeah. So the other 8 administrators didn't do it. And one even showed me that he turned it off because that person was able to show me that who turned it off. So it was Mr. Gray that turned off commenting once I made a comment. So if Borough President Gibson does nothing, I'm afraid I will see Mr. Gray in court. Not only that, but the chair of the Ethics Committee said that the board itself will be responsible. So I may be able to sue the board and even Borough President Gibson if that's going to be the case. So just look out, Borough President Gibson. I'm just giving you a warning. If you want to solve this problem before we go to court, just speak to me. I'm going to call you on Monday and request to sit down with you, Borough President Gibson, and get this matter cleared one way or another, or we'll have to go to court. So I want to thank my guest, Mr. Kevin Diola, for coming on. Any other final words, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm going to correct you on one thing, Bob. The lawyer, like an attorney, and you got a Brooklyn accent. The lawyer. No, besides that, and I don't want to get into your specific issue, but that Facebook page, if you can change the name, change the name. It's definitely not official. I don't even see what all the problem is about it, why people want to get on it, off it. It's a Facebook page, social media. I think they're looking too deep into it. It's either official or it's not, and the public just needs to know that. That's all.
Well, I had a Facebook, my original Facebook page was New Friends of Community Board 11, which I changed the name to What is Going On in Your Local Community Board because of that. Okay, so really there should not be a page, saying Community Board 11 on it unless it's an official page. Just like on the 49th Precinct, we have 2 pages that say 49th Precinct on it when they're not official 49th Precinct pages. Right. It's something that the city is going to have to look into, that it might be a copyright issue or something because it's official, government names, and you can't use a government name to promote something else.
It's as simple as using the word friends. If you say citizens or residents or community board itself, you might think it's the official board. That word friends would solve it all, in my eyes.
Even that, because the Community Board 11 has a checkbook, which is called Friends of Community Board 11. Okay, so, if you have a page, is it connected or not? That's why they should use the word community board on it or community board number.
Right.
Okay. Like I said, mine is What is Going On in Your Local Community Board. There's no number. It's just a friendly page to tell you, and it tells about other community boards too. So I'm going to say goodbye here. Thank you for coming on, Kevin. Thank you for letting my audience know about the Bronx Park Speak Up. And I hope that you, while I know that we started a little late, so all my viewers on YouTube, I want to say thank you for viewing in, and those of you who stayed with us and waited through the few minutes of delay, I want to thank you also, and I'll see you next week on Talking Politics. Thank you.
In a world where the quality of information available to poorer communities is doctored, tainted, and sometimes regressive, where the words fake news have come to mean other people's opinions, it is vital to rely on news platforms with journalists who have feet on the ground and can report the truth. New York Parrot, a New York-based national and global news outlet, is changing the narratives of media operations. We focus on the news that matters, like self-empowerment, entrepreneurship, finances, health, security, politics, and more. We strive to curb violence, racial and economic discrimination, and to promote peace and social